Good evening. Hello, and welcome to the Wellness Lounge. This is Denise here going live with you on this Saturday evening. And this is the last in a series of lockdown talks that I've been joining you with over the last 6 weeks. So I had an inspiration at the start of lockdown to come back in here and do these talks. And here I am. And tonight, I just wanted to check in with people before we check out. And that just kind of came to me this evening as I was wondering what I was going to speak about this evening. So I've kept this pretty vague because I didn't really know what topics to pick. I have a general sense of what I'd like to talk about this evening. So hopefully you'll join with me and you'll listen, and we can learn together and progress together on this pathway that we're on. So welcome everybody, and it's great to have you here this evening. So yeah, I suppose I'll share with you what I was thinking when I set this topic up. Hi Andrew. So yeah, just checking in before we check out, and I know we're all probably really happy that lockdown has been lifted. I think most people probably are, anyways, and we get to mingle a little bit more and socialize and visit people's houses and things like that over the next few weeks. And obviously, I said I'd take a break from these, once lockdown was lifted as well. So I just really wanted to check in with everyone and see how you're doing and share with you maybe my experiences of what's been going on this week on this journey of mind retraining that I'm on myself. And that some of you, I know it resonates with some of you. Just the comments have been wonderful, and it's been lovely to connect with people here because this is a relatively new forum for me. I know I keep saying that, but I don't know if I'd ever become fully comfortable with going live here on a Saturday night without having the thoughts in my mind of, why are you doing this? What are you going to talk about? And all that kind of stuff. So thank you everyone for your feedback and your comments. It's just encouraging to know that I'm making sense to some people, or that this is resonating with some people. I feel like I'm just sharing my experience. Excuse me. I'm sharing my experience because it feels like the right thing to do. It's not, as I said, I'm not an expert on anything, and I'm not putting myself out there as an expert on anything really. Like obviously I do have a business, and that there is coaching in that business. People work with me on a one-to-one basis, but I'm not even really here to plug any of that, to be honest. Like I just really feel like drawn to sharing the experiences that I've been having because I think people can resonate with that. And I think some people are maybe looking for what I've been looking for, just a different way of being in the world. And, I feel like I've been doing that for a long, long time. And, maybe I have something that might be useful to talk about here. And obviously when I share what's happening for me, I strengthen my experience. Like I strengthen what's going on with me, and I'm learning that as well. When I share something with the world, I'm kind of professing it and I'm putting it out there as this is me, and it's been hugely healing for me that way to do this kind of stuff in an online forum, so thank you for being here. And I suppose one of the thoughts I had was, when we go back out there into the world, and I know it's going to be for a few weeks and we'll probably be locked down again, I'm just wondering, what are you learning? What are you learning about yourself? Because I've kind of been realizing that a lot of the ways that I would have distracted myself prior to lockdown have been taken away, whether that was just keeping myself busy, just really busy meeting people. My life was very varied because am self-employed and had a lot of flexibility in my schedule. So I would have spent a lot of time meeting people, and I do miss that. But I realized I did a lot of that, overextending myself into the environment. There's obviously shopping, eating out, the dating world for anybody that's part of that. I personally have chosen not to be part of that for a while. I'm choosing to kind of just look at all distractions now and see what it is that's in each of those for me, and if there's anything worth returning to in those areas. Like, so today and yesterday I had stuff coming up under the surface, old thoughts, beliefs, and some stuff I think that's raising its head, that because it needs to be brought out into the light, and of course, the Miracles is showing me to always pay attention to what's going on in my mind, what is actually going on in my mind, without analyzing every little thought. But if I'm not feeling okay, then in my experience and where I'm at, it's worth actually just checking in with myself to see, okay, what's going on, what's the story I'm telling myself here at the moment. And yeah, the last day or two I've had past hurt coming up, anger, guilt, remorse, regret, frustration, all these kind of so-called negative emotions coming up, and have been speaking to people about that. Like, I have people in my life that can help me with that kind of stuff, which is amazing, both like professionals and non-professionals, and all kinds of support. Like, as I've shared on here, in all of my talks, like, I've taken a lot of help in my life to get to where I am today, and I would encourage anyone to do that for themselves, in the way that suits you the best. What works for me might not work for other people. But I learned a long time ago that I'm only as sick as my secrets, and I find that if I'm living a life where I feel I have to be secretive or even lie to myself, then that doesn't really work for me, lying to myself and ignoring my own instincts was something I did a lot over the years, because of these distractions, and this is what I wanted to talk about, was distractions. So what I was saying was, I was feeling all this emotion coming up, and I could feel today I wanted to do something, like I wanted to go somewhere. For me, sometimes it could be about, I want to have a cigarette, like, which is something I really struggle with at times, or eat something. I just want something, there's nowhere to go, there's no one to meet, there's nothing to do. So maybe I can ingest something that will make me feel better, or go shopping, and I didn't have to go shopping for food, but I did, we did a little bit of Christmas shopping here in Shannon. Unfortunately, the options are quite limited here at the moment, but did a bit of that, and eventually I made dinner and settled into myself. But I was very, very aware that there was something that, because of all this emotion and whatever is coming up, I could really feel I wanted to get away from myself. Okay. And this is what I'm saying, so before we go back out there, out into the world, for anyone, that's interested in living a life based on inner peace, which is what I am all about, finding my own peace and joy and happiness within here first. Because if I'm looking outside of myself for that, it'll be short lived. That's been my experience, and I can 100,000,000% say that. If I don't have it internally first, then I'm really, really, I'm selling myself short in seeing if I can find it in the world outside me. In anything. I mean, anything, like, having the job, the house, the car, the body, the clothes, the partner, the perfect everything, anything. I've been here before on all my talks, having more stuff. Russell Brand, I didn't listen to it all now, but I do listen to him at times. He's put up his latest, I think it's a podcast or Instagram video on in Britain. They've been encouraged to go shopping, like to bring back the economy, obviously in the pandemic, and he just has a lot to say about that. I just kind of skipped through it today, but at one point I did hear him saying, when can we talk about the fact that it's an inward journey here, that the answers are not outside of ourselves. And I don't know if any of you have got to that point in your life where you've just realized that you can pretend for as long as you like that there's stuff and people and places and things in this world that will make you happy if you get them, and then you get them and realize there's still something missing. So the perfect house, is just a house at the end of the day. A new car suddenly eventually becomes not a new car. The relationship, the person isn't perfect. They're not the dream person. Everybody is flawed, and we finally realize, so are we, and so is everybody else. And so where do we go? And if any of you from tuning in here have realized that there's a spark within you that is showing you that there's a different way, I just would encourage you to stay with that, especially as we go out into the world now. And I do really like Christmas. I put up the tree this week and found it quite an emotional experience, actually. Yeah, there was a lot going on for a day or two there for me, just personally, and realizing that Christmas for a lot of people, it can be quite a sad time, and a bit of a lonely time. So it brings up an awful lot, so my challenge for myself has been, how do I find peace that is not of this world, so that cannot be taken away? And when I found, like a lot of the spiritual teachers that I've listened to over the years are pointing us all towards this one thing, one place within ourselves that has this source of peace. And when I found A Course in Miracles, it's perfect because it talks about how this peace doesn't mean any sacrifice. There's absolutely no sacrifice. It's your ego thought system that will tell you, oh, okay, well, if I have to be like peaceful like Buddha or God or Jesus or whoever, then I'll be kind of boring, and my life will be boring, and I'll be giving up all this really fun stuff, that the ego thought system tells me is really fun, until I put myself in the middle of it and realize it's actually not fun at all. And there's a real price to be paid. For me personally, this is what I found. Like, other people are different, and look, whatever floats your boat. If you're here listening, then you might be someone that's found yourself in a place where you just want to look at life a little bit differently, and you're starting to realize that maybe things that brought you happiness before are kind of like wearing away, and no matter how many new toys you get, they're not bringing you the peace and contentment that you sought from them. And maybe you're starting to realize that you've been looking in the wrong places for what you need and what you want and what you deserve and what's yours, what's rightfully yours. Because nobody tells us this, nobody tells us about the inward struggle or battle that we have being human, coming to terms with the fact that we die, this body will crumble, will be taken away at some point. So what is it actually all about, and those are the questions I've been drawn to look at over the years. And for me, I've been brought along a pathway that has brought me to this point in my life where I've really, it's been a matter of life or death, because of all the emotional upheavals that I've experienced, and particularly in the last year. And I think a lot of people in lockdown have taken it as a chance to really take a step back and observe their mind and what's going on in their mind, what's going on in my body, what's going on in my mind. How can I strengthen my mind here? And how do I even do that? And what I love about the message in A Course in Miracles is, like, it's not about making Denise a better person. It's not really about self-help. It's beyond all of that. It's about finding a part of me that is eternal. Um, I think it's what Muji would say has never been born and never dies. Um, the scientists would call it quantum physics. So there's a name for it no matter what your inclination is. And as I've said before, the language in A Course in Miracles does sound quite biblical. I'm okay with that because I've said it before, like I've been able to separate religion from God and Jesus and everything through the privileged learning I had in my early 20s when I was brought into a spiritual program that saved my life. It's not a religion, it's not a cult, but I was brought into a way of living and thinking that really opened my mind to concept of God, oneness, and really, really, really tuning into there has to be something more, like there has to be more. There has to be a better way. There has to be a better way. I don't believe we came here to suffer, but it felt like that for me at many, many points in my life. It felt like, oh my God, like, am I ever going to be in a place where I'm not suffering mentally or emotionally? Um, and I found a way through that. And my faith, belief in the fact that I'm not here on my own, that there is a strength that I'm connected to that is far greater than me, that that really sustains me. I can't explain it. It probably sounds quite childish or limited, but that's what sustains me. And there's a reading from A Course in Miracles that I wanted to do with you, that you might enjoy as a slight meditation. And it's lesson 273 from the workbook for students, from A Course in Miracles. It's part 2 of the workbook, and it's called The Stillness of the Peace of God is Mine. Perhaps we are now ready for a day of undisturbed tranquility. If this is not yet feasible, we are content and even more than satisfied to learn how such a day can be achieved. If we give way to a disturbance, let us learn how to dismiss it and return to peace. We need but tell our minds with certainty, the stillness of the peace of God is mine, and nothing can intrude upon the peace that God Himself has given to His Son. His Son being all of us, just everything, everybody. So if you'd like to listen on, just as a little meditation here. Father, your peace is mine. What need have I to fear that anything can rob me of what you would have me keep? I cannot lose your gifts to me. And so the peace you gave your Son is with me still, in quietness and in my own eternal love for you. So what that tells me is that there is, I know the language is a bit of a barrier for a lot of people, and I get that. And I realize I probably sound like I'm affiliated to some kind of a religion, and I'm actually not. So but what this is saying to me is that there is a peace that is mine that cannot be taken. So what do I have to worry about? Because this can't be robbed from me, because it's who I am, it's what I'm made of, and where I came from has given me that. It's my inheritance, it's my right, my righteous, it's my right to have this gift of peace, and I can't lose it. So that there's great actual comfort in that for me. If I just think about, okay, and this is like a lesson in minding my peace of mind, if you ask me. And I like the suggestion at the start, perhaps we are now ready for a day of undisturbed tranquility, like a full day of undisturbed tranquility. I mean, how amazing would that be? And if I can do it for one day, I can do it for another day. But what it's saying, which is nice, I like this, like it's a gentle lesson. If it's not yet feasible, if we're not there yet, that we can't get to having a day of undisturbed tranquility, we are content and even more than satisfied to learn just how such a day can be achieved. And I'd ask you to think about, when I talk about this tranquility, do you think of what's coming into your mind? Because you have to remember that there is an ego thought system that we are conditioned to listen to, that actually, in a strange way, if you think about it, doesn't want us to be peaceful, because it means that we kind of stop listening to that voice. We don't pay it as much attention. We start to rely on a different voice, an internal guidance system that I believe we all have and that we're all connected to, that actually just wants us to be peaceful and happy. And everybody else that we meet is deserving of that peace as well, and that's where I struggled this week, because I had a scenario in my mind where I found it hard to award that person that peace. But when I don't award them the peace, I'm taking my own peace from myself, because I'm carrying them in my head. I'm keeping them in chains, and I'm also in chains myself. So for me to have a day of undisturbed tranquility means that I just need to dismiss any disturbances. So if there's a little thought saying, oh, you need to worry about this, or oh God, that's really sad, why did that happen, or oh, and just all these little disturbances, all I need to do is to turn, just when I feel disturbed or threatened, and just say, the stillness of the peace of God is mine. The stillness of the peace of God is mine. And for me, I would say, and I claim that now. And it's like a fire extinguisher for the little fires that the ego sets off in my mind, and it brings me back to my righteous place, which is undisturbed peace and tranquility. And it doesn't mean that I sit in meditation all day, far from it. I actually meditate very little. I do maybe 5 minutes every day, as in actually sitting down quiet and listening to nothing. I enjoy that 5 minutes. I have to say, if I can do 10, I do, but I just like to try and have my whole day in meditation with my source connected to, the right channel, so the right airwaves. I know if I'm not connected to my truest self, if I'm feeling disturbed. My peaceful self and my peace that is my inheritance is always there. So it's a bit like, when you fly above the clouds, it's always sunny. It's the same with this. The peace is always, always there. And it's love, it's unconditional love. But there are many, many blocks there that are placed in the way of me accessing this peace. And I guess my life's work has been about tearing down those blocks. And some of them have come down easily, and some of them have been really, and I'm still in the process of taking down these blocks to peace, because part of my mind just, for some reason, is afraid of this, of letting go. So it's what I mentioned earlier on. If I'm going to have this peace and tranquility, then there must be a catch. Like, I have to let go of all these things in my life that I think are so important and that make me happy and that I want. I need. But like, that's all a lie, that is just all such bullshit. Like, because if you actually allow yourself to sink into that peace and try and live from that peace, you'll be living a life of inspiration, and guidance, from within, from your higher self, from your source, whatever you want to call it. And it's a life that in my experience, when I've allowed myself to do that, it just flows very easily. It's really not stressful. I find things happen when they need to. I don't need to force myself or push myself. Like, I've come from a place, in the past, I've been very pushy with myself, forceful, hard on myself. I kind of have gone to the opposite then as well, where I've been, what maybe I've had lazier periods in my life, but I think all of that needed to be as it was, and really just trusting that I am in the right place at the right time, because for me, like, I do a lot of reflection and talking and writing and listening. And then I do a lot of not any of that. I mean, I've been watching The Crown this week. I started from the start because I hadn't seen it, and I'm really into that now. So I love being able to switch off, but I just find when my mind is at peace, I can do that really easily. But if my mind isn't at peace, I can't do that so easily. I can't relax as well. I'd be up and down, I'd be doing things, I'd be distracting myself. So yeah, I just invite you and all of us, like me included, I'm going to enjoy this lift from lockdown. I'm certainly going to enjoy meeting up with my friends and seeing people, going for walks on the beach, doing nice things like that. You know, and that's beautiful. And I love when I have the freedom in my mind to be able to just be present and enjoy situations like that. I guess for me, I would like all of us to look at, what do I use as a distraction because I don't want to sit with myself. What is preventing me from actually tearing down the blocks to finding this well of peace and love and joy that's within me? What am I afraid of? What do I really feel like? No, I need to hold on to this. I need to be right about this. Or I want this. This is making me happy. And if it is, I mean, go do it, be it, live it. But if you've experienced what I've experienced in life, where you've found things that you thought were going to make you happy and then realized, oh God, this isn't actually making me happy, and now I've got a big mess on my hands, you might want to just start thinking about living life a little bit differently. And all that means is, for me, has been being a little bit brave and trusting your own intuition and your guidance. And that looks different for everybody. Like, I'm not here to say, oh, you need to meditate every day, or you need to read A Course in Miracles, or you need to listen to Louise Hay, or like, none of that. I don't know. I can't say how you are going to find your way, but I just feel if you have that little spark inside that's going, no, like, I don't think it's about having more stuff. I don't think it's about finding even that person. I don't think it's about being more qualified. I don't think it's about being a size 10. That there's something else here, and I really want to find what that is. I would say come on board. It's been an amazing pathway for me, that when I started to follow that, and not easy. It's not easy, you see, because you really start to question, okay, so I was conditioned to think X, Y, and Z and believe X, Y, and Z, and okay, but then it's nobody's fault though, because everyone was doing the best they could. And yeah, but do I need to carry these beliefs with me now? And what if I let them go? Who would I be? Who would I be without the belief that, I need the house and the job and the car and the 2.4 kids or whatever it is? And I think a lot of kind of the younger people are starting to see that now, and have a bit more freedom. But I do think people are there's still something missing, and I do think it's that connection to the truth about who you really are and how amazingly powerful we all are, and just what frequency we're tuned into. So is it the ego thought system? But if it is, it's the same. It'll be old thoughts repeating on repeat. Generally coming from a place of fear or lack, not good enough, need more of that, want more of this, shouldn't have done that, should do this. the other side of your mind is about this love and this peace and stillness. That might sound boring, and especially if the ego thought system is very much up in your mind, then it probably will be like, oh yeah, you don't really want to go there. Whatever Denise is saying is great for her, but not for me. But I would just question, just see where that brings you, and see where you really truly, there's part of you that knows where you want to go and where you want to be. I'd encourage you just to fearlessly hear it and bring it with you and see where it leads you. I'm just going to finish on a little reading from this lesson again. So lesson 273. The stillness of the peace of God is mine. Father, your peace is mine. What need have I to fear that anything can rob me of what you would have me keep? I cannot lose your gifts to me. And so the peace you gave your Son is with me still, in quietness and in my own eternal love for you. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope this has been useful. It's been really useful for me to proclaim a lot of this stuff out loud, and by you being here, you're strengthening the message as well, that there is peace. Inner peace is possible. There's peace to be had. Peace in the world starts with each of us finding peace in our mind, and we'll see what happens from there. So thank you for being here. I will be back at some point. Enjoy the lifting of lockdown, whatever that brings for you. And much love to you, your families, your friends, and all of the situations that you come into. Just remember that there's a stillness and a peace there that you can choose anytime. Okay. So God bless. Bye for now.